Okay. Hey everybody, how y'all doing tonight? It's your boy Aaron. My mic was off. That was a little bit embarrassing, but we're gonna get online for a little bit of some TikTok debates, get into a little conversation. I don't really got much time tonight. I'm not gonna really be able to get into the news tonight in the way that I normally would like to. But I have to get online at least for a little bit just to show that I'm still going and that I'm not ruining my streaks. Little low energy right now, man. Trying to wake up, trying to get myself together, man. I'm a little exhausted. It's been an exhausting week. Been a little bit just out of it, feeling tired, but we're gonna do this anyways, man. You got to keep the grind going. You got to stay consistent. So, with that being said, man, I'm gonna go ahead and turn on TikTok and get into it sooner rather than later because I really don't have too much time today. All right, throwing it on. Get everything set up. Boom, boom. Chatterino. Okay. All right, man. Hopefully the people start flowing in soon, man. We start getting some people, in for a conversation. Not too sure how long it's gonna take for this to get going, but while we wait, we could talk about what's going on today. I believe that Yemen officially entered the war today. I think last night. Caden, there's Caden. Gotcha.
Hey, buddy.
What's good, bro? How you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm chilling, bro. I'm chilling. Tired for some reason. I don't know. Been an exhausting week.
My neck hurts, man. I slept wrong on my neck. It's been affecting me all day.
Oh, dude. Yeah, that sucks when you do that, man. You sleep on you sleep the wrong way one time, dude. All day long, your body is sore.
For real.
I have that problem more with my back. That's what I'm saying. I'm feeling old as hell.
I got I would say the top right, right under my shoulder blade is where I'm also feeling some stress.
Oh, that's horrible.
I did a shit ton of push-ups too to try to break it up. I took a really warm shower and massaged it. Nothing's working, bro.
Nothing. Dang, we're gonna get like that massage gun or something like that.
I was thinking about that, man. It's a great investment.
It is, man. I'm telling you, those things really help out because when you're in a predicament like that, you got to get that knot rubbed out.
Yeah. Otherwise, you ain't gonna be having fun.
No, dude, you're gonna have a horrible day, man. Ain't nothing worse than, like I said, having a crick in your neck all day long or your back just feeling like out of whack, bro. I'm telling you. Like I used to drive all of the time. I still do here and there just to make extra cash, but I used to do like 12-hour shifts, dude, driving. Man, my back would just be killing me after. Horrendous.
You talking like DoorDash and shit?
Uber, like actual Uber driving.
I used to do DoorDash a lot.
Yeah, I would do that stuff here and there too, but I always was able to make a little bit more cash doing the Uber aspect of it. Yep. But I mean, I did do the DoorDash part of it as well. But dude, man, just sitting in the car all day long is just not it, bro. I can't. But if the money's there, I'll take it. But money's not there the way that it used to be. I used to be able to make like $1,600 a week doing Uber. But that was back when like COVID was like coming to an end, 2021, 2022. And then they kind of restructured their entire like financial system and everything and the way that they paid out people, and it just kind of got crappy.
Right.
Oh man, so
what you feel in the news today?
Yeah, man. Yeah. I think that from what I was reading, officially Yemen entered the war. So now Israel's fighting a front war. What's up? What's up? Hello, hello. Do you know this person?
Yemen has entered the war, huh?
Hey. Yeah. So, are you familiar with this person talking? Are you trolling? No. Are you okay? Are you trying to have Hey, how you feel about America, man? What?
So,
what's up?
What do you mean?
How you feel about America? How you think it's doing? You Republican? You conservative? You liberal?
No, I'm not a liberal. I guess I could say I'll be like a Republican, but not with ICE.
What's your
they
age?
suck. I'm just turning 21.
21. What year were you born in?
I was born in 2004.
All right.
Okay.
You sound a little young, but all right. I mean, I don't know. I guess these Gen Alpha kids sound younger.
9 years old. I ain't gonna lie.
You sound very young. You sure you're almost 21?
Yeah. No, I am 21. I just turned 21, brother.
Hey, well, what's your favorite alcoholic beverage?
Corona.
Okay, well, what about mixed drink?
What do you mean mixed drink?
Bro, I don't know.
All
That's
right, I don't know, bro. 18 and up. If you're 18 and up, please send a request to get inside of this conversation. If you would like to talk about how America's doing, if you're requesting, please let me know inside of the chat. Oh my gosh, kids trying to have a political conversation is absolutely crazy to me.
You could tell that there was some childish aspects there, but it was confirmed when they couldn't name an alcoholic beverage.
Yeah, I was like, you can't name one alcoholic drink that you like. Come on.
Corona, okay, exception. Everybody knows Corona.
Exactly. I was like, come on, give me what kind of liquor do you like?
Yeah.
What a basic response. Sorry, you failed the test. For anybody rolling inside of the conversation, if you want to request inside of the chat, just go ahead and ask. We'll get you into the conversation. But yeah, bro, the Yemen. So do you know where Yemen sits exactly?
Yeah, I do, but I'm not sure about their political aspect.
So Yemen is actually aligned. It's an Iran-aligned country.
Okay.
So they've already been threatening to enter the war since the start of it. They're, like I said, they're allied with Iran. The problem is, Iran controls the Strait of Hormuz, right? Which is that choke point on one side of the continent. On the other side of the country, or not the country, but if you go look at the geography of, that area, there's another strait called Bab el-Mandeb, and that's controlled by Yemen. So that controls another 10 to 12% of the world's oil right now. So now with Yemen getting involved, that could affect that one as well, which could affect 32% of the world's oil. So who knows what we're in for, man? And then they're talking about world hunger could go up around the world because 30% of the world's fertilizer actually ships through the Strait of Hormuz and it's not getting through, right? So I think around the world, multiple countries going into like an energy crisis. I saw that Trump talked last night, but he didn't really say too much. He kind of just said that the war was coming. Yeah,
that's what I saw as well.
Yeah, he went on for like 40 minutes. I try to watch every time that he talks, because he kind of does speeches almost daily, and a lot of people only watch like only a couple of minutes or just one every once in a while, but it's important to see what he's saying. That's how you get misinformation
spread. So therefore, I also like getting my stuff directly from the source. So yeah, social media posts specifically coming from the White House or Trump, and then his speeches, I always try to watch.
Yeah, because you have to go and cross-reference, right? You got to go get the context of the whole entire thing, or sometimes people will just clip it out of context, and you don't necessarily know if you're getting the entire full story, right? I mean, it could just be somebody clipping the worst moment that just needed to be explained a little bit more, right? So
but it happens all the time.
Oh yeah, man, that's how I get it. He said I get my information for Candace Owens. You want to get in here? Candace Owens is crazy, but I mean, shit. I like Candace Owens sometimes. She be spitting some facts sometimes.
Sometimes, I be watching her for her looks, low key. That's about it.
I mean, yeah, she's got facts, man. I mean, she runs a pretty entertaining podcast, man. She throws some pretty wild ideas out there, man.
Yeah, how do you feel about her coming after Erica Kirk?
That's crazy, man. I mean, that whole split of that dynasty is kind of wild, bro.
Ridiculous, in my opinion. Okay, I understand she's onto something, and it sounds like she's getting somewhere, but there's been so many things she stated debunked. And I don't have any factual proof of this. I can look it up for you if you want. But just everything in general that's going on. Man, let a woman grieve. Her husband was just assassinated worldwide, in front of the world, bro.
Do you feel like she was grieving, though?
Honestly, what does
I feel like there's a lot. That's true. I guess that's a lot. That's true. So what do you feel about the Drewski skit?
I don't give a crap. I don't think it's racist at all.
Okay,
But
so
then again, I
at
don't
least
think
you
wearing
can say that.
yeah, I don't think wearing blackface is racist either.
Right, 100%. I mean, I think it's comedy, bro.
Yeah, I think
And
it
that
was
just
funny.
proved to me right there that like if white people are mad about it, then black people said that it's okay if you do it. That I don't know. I feel like when Drewski does something like that, that's perfectly okay. Then if the other side wants to go do it, go. You know, I mean, honestly, our president, you know, through the AI thing out there, with Obama, and it wasn't really a big deal. And I mean, who cares, right? I mean, it's just you know, if you think it's funny, then you think it's funny. That's your freedom to speech, right?
Absolutely, freedom of
Comedy is
press,
still
freedom of speech.
exactly. Comedy is still protected.
People complain about the worst things ever, and that's what makes us more divided. Is like it's distractions from really the real problems that we need to be worried about. Ain't nobody care
Yeah.
about your feelings about a freaking comedy skit, bro. It's a comedy skit.
He's like, bro, we got real issues going on here in America, and we got the country now divided over. It's the culture wars, man. What I try to tell people about all of the time.
And they don't agree a lot of the time. They're like,
Scary.
man,
my
like
my
I don't
wife
care
said
if
that
you're
she
a
hopes the
Republican
scary
or a
movie brings us
Democrat.
together.
Yeah, I don't care if you're a Republican or a Democrat. Everybody got a different culture. Everybody got their own reason for hating. But at the end of the day, we all come together as Americans to celebrate everybody's differences.
Right, 100%, bro. We have to kind of look past the fact that we have these political ideologies, and you know, like y'all, we talked about the other day, right? Oh, what's your nationality, or what are you? We're American, right? At the end of the day, you know, because I was talking to like my wife about it, I think like Democrats, right? Like they time and time again, right? We talked about this, I think, the other day, where they kind of lean towards getting the race vote, right? They try to make it too racy. They're like, oh well, we got to get we got to get like two black people in the cabinet, one Asian person in cabinet. We got to have one Hispanic to get that vote. And they kind of like calculate it by a numbers game and everything. And I think that they try to go after these specific groups of people. And by doing so, you're already splitting them into these margins. While you could just be like, I'm fighting for all Americans. And by fighting for like true American values and wanting to make America better, it would turn help every single race that is here, because I'm not trying to just help the black race or the white race or the Mexicans, right? I'm trying to help all Americans.
Because it don't matter what your color is. It matters if you're American or not at the end of the day.
Exactly. And I think we just need to convince more people of that, right? We got to get more people
Well,
on board with that idea.
I'm especially proud of the black community because scrolling through TikTok today, you want to know how many different lives I've seen that were black controlled by the black community. And dude, all of them, every single one of them are talking about what we're talking about right now. And they're like, yo, this whole critical race thing is just complete bullshit, you know? They're making us seem like clowns out here.
Chatter says, since healthcare for all would save Americans and be vote for healthcare for all, then not Republican. Since healthcare for all would save Americans and be cheaper. Would you like to get in here Thursday? If you would like to, you can definitely get up in here. I will say that we do need to fight for just a more affordable healthcare system. And I mean, me personally, I think that my biggest frustration was like when they got rid of the ACA, the Affordable Care Act, right? Was that there was just no clear indication of like when we were going to get any type of plan back, right? Especially because, like I said, for me,
there were steps already put in place to lower prescription costs and actually have a menu price of what everything is, so there can be more competitors.
I agree, and I think that so like that where there is things like GoodRx, right, where you can save on prescriptions, and there are, you know, for me, like I have to utilize things like that just because I don't have insurance. I'm like one of those people that has had to live under the system for years, right? Especially because I lost my insurance when I was 26 under my family. So ever since then, I've kind of been either going through government insurance, right, buying it through ACA, because at 26, I was full-time Uber. I didn't have like a job to where I could get insurance, right? So I bought my insurance through the government. You know, that's my personal thing that I had to do, but I'm still in college. So getting a full-time job while having to let my wife go to school full-time and work, right, it was kind of a crazy situation. Anyway, you know, I would have to utilize those systems. The prescription I can get, it's getting into the doctor now. That's expensive, right? Because without insurance, they won't even see you without charging you hundreds of dollars. Right. You know what I'm saying? That's the one I think big difficulty a lot of Americans are dealing with at the moment is just we don't have an ability to even go, or if we have to go, we have to go to the emergency room, and it's thousands of. Dude, I went to the ER for 4 hours last year in April. Dude, I think it's like a $5,000 bill.
Yeah, mine was similar. I went to the ER as well due to I was really sick, and I found out I had kidney stones causing it. But it was roughly like 475, basically. And
Yeah,
I mean, it
yeah,
was
it's
expensive.
expensive still. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
expensive, man. I mean, of course they're not like charging you like as you get out. Oh, it depends on where you go, bro. Because my dad suffers from he has heart issues. He had a heart attack 2 years ago. So
I'm sorry to
now
hear that.
oh yeah, and dude, that was yeah, it was crazy. He was in a coma for 11 days. But he's good.
Dude.
He was able. Yeah, he coded like I think 7 8 times like in front of us. It was a pretty crazy experience. He's here though. He's still alive, so that's all that
Yeah,
matters.
well,
But
by the grace of God, God bless you guys.
oh, dude,
I'll keep
yeah,
that in my
man.
prayers, man.
Of course, man. You as well, bro. I appreciate that, man. Thank you. That's what brought. I mean, that's dude. What I mean, I don't know. I have these conversations about religion with people sometimes, right? And I mean, I've found myself to be a religious man throughout my life. Am I like somebody who is like, I go to church every weekend kind of situation? No, but do I believe in? Yes. And that kind of situation right there specifically was one that I just can't deny a miracle, right? It's like one of those
Right.
do you believe in miracles kind of situation. I do, because of that right
So
there. Because
my
he,
question for you is like, I don't go to church. I won't
right.
lie. I haven't been to church in years, and it's not because I don't want to go. It's not because like, oh, I don't like the church and shit like that. I just don't feel like there's a need to specifically go to church to be as practicing Christians.
Oh
But
yeah, yeah, yeah.
majority of Christians will disagree with that and say that I'm a fake Christian.
It's a hard conversation to have. Yeah, a lot of Christians will feel that way. And that's not true at all because, like I said, when we were talking about it the other day, that's not necessarily what Jesus wanted us to do. He never wanted us to, he literally says that he does not want us to gather in these big places where we're showy, right? He wants us to pray in private. That's literally what he wants us to do. He says that it's hypocritical and showy and pious to go into these big lavish spaces and once a week show that you're all holier than thou. You know what I'm saying? That's not what it's
Right.
about. It's about daily practice. It's about the way you live your life. And that's why I try to say, like where I approach this, I approach it from, even if everybody's not a Christian standpoint. I love my brothers and my sisters, whether you're liberal or you're conservative, man. None of that matters to me. Like we can have that conversation and talk, which is what is needed. That's why we have we literally have the most protected freedom of speech like laws in the entire world. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Nobody quite literally gets to have like the luxury that we get to have. So because of that, conversations like this in other countries are illegal. You
Yeah,
know,
it is.
like seriously, getting online and talking to people about like again, like criticizing the government and everything. That's treasonous in some countries. So we have to be very, very appreciative of the fact that we can gather together in spaces like this and still have these conversations. And we have to
Yeah, at the
approach
end of
them
the
in
day,
that
it's a
mindset,
real blessing because a lot of people suffer simply because they want that, right?
right? People want it right now. Yeah, there are multiple countries all over the world that want it. I mean, we talk about the Iran war. That's what the people want in Iran. They do want um, a better government. They do want freedom from their government. And when I make my posts to know about the Iran war and America's involvement, it's never like to defend the regime. It's more or less to defend the fact that just because of such somebody that likes to look at history and everything, history has showed that we don't really like I said, leave these countries in the best place. After we leave, and it could lead to a bigger chaos, like power vacuum, right, happening within the country, which it
Right.
does
And
all of the
yeah, I mean, I
time.
definitely agree. We definitely have our history of like completely annihilating places and governments and just leaving them to be. But then again, we also have a history of, you know, knowing the wrong we've done and contributing to undoing all of that by rebuilding those countries. Like, I mean, Japan, I mean, I feel like the most prime example. We we know it was wrong to drop those nukes. Am I
Right.
wrong?
I
We
would
all
say
know.
that,
I mean,
yeah, I would say after, what it was, it's Truman, right? That dropped it. After Truman dropped it, I think historically he's like, I think I messed up. You know what I'm saying? Like,
oh
because
yeah, he regretted it big time, and it shows even in today's society because we have bases there with American people helping out that country. And the reason why I know that is because my buddy, he was stationed out in Okinawa for the longest time. They absolutely hate Americans, but American
yeah,
soldiers are forced to go and help these communities because it's like basically paying them reparations in a way.
right. I mean, I'm gonna be real. The Japanese, okay, so the Japanese did not deserve a nuclear bomb, but what the Japanese were doing in the World War One is so deep, bro. It is so disgusting, bro. I don't look at what they were doing in China. I don't know if you've ever looked into like the Japanese, like the Asian front of World War Two. It's crazy, bro. Like
I remember
what they
learning
did
about
to
it
the
in school,
Chinese is
but
insane.
I've never truly looked at it as an individual outside of school, you know?
Yeah, there's this one story, bro, called it's called the Grape of Nanking, right? And it's basically the city that was just full of a bunch of civilians, women and children. And historically, the Japanese soldiers went in there and they murdered everybody, heads on spikes, like kids' heads on spikes and stuff. It was really
What's up, Truin?
What up, Truin? And I think at the end of the day, you know, like I said, America did not realize how much devastation would come from that bomb. And that's why they haven't utilized it since, right? Nobody wants to go to nuclear war. I mean, that's why I try to argue all of the time.
It was going to work in the first place. Like, I mean, the pilots were shocked when they saw it worked. It was just a deterrent to get them to stop doing whatever the hell they were doing in the first place.
Right. What I will say though is that I have also read stories about Hiroshima, man, and you know, understand the people of Hiroshima were a lot of civilians. You know, it was people, it was women and children and elderly. It wasn't horrible. A naval. It had a naval base, but it was not full of soldiers at the time. You know, at the time it was kids. And dude, I've read some bad stories, and it's what we did to them. And go on.
This deformed generations to this day. Even they still struggle with the effects of dropping a nuclear bomb. Like it's ridiculous. I have read up on that specifically, and I know the damage it's done. I've seen the footage and everything else, and let me tell you, like, I would never want to put anyone through that ever.
No, not at all, man. I mean, that I don't know, like, if I could live with myself as a person knowing that I caused that kind of devastation. And homie in the chat is right. The pilots didn't know what they were doing. You know, they were just that's why I never really try to go at like veterans for you know, because like I've read a lot about like Nam and everything too. You can't blame like soldiers. Yes, you can sometimes because there were some pretty horrible things that some soldiers did. But for the most part, they have to follow orders. They're bred to follow. It's ingrained in their minds in boot camp that if you don't follow, a good soldier is a soldier that does not question orders, right? So, you know, they had to go and do what they had to go do, even if it meant doing something like that. And thank God it did stop the war. But you have to ask yourself, homie in the chat, would we have ever done that to Hitler? Would we have done that to Germany? You know, I don't think we would have. But, you know, some people would debate. And that's why, like you said, I do agree. We did give Japan a lot of help. But what about, like, I think I reference more like Vietnam and Afghanistan. You know, we tried, I guess in Afghanistan, but we couldn't handle it. We pulled out. And I mean, look, do you remember the footage of when we pulled out of Afghanistan when all the people were jumping on that plane, bro?
That was ridiculous. And I'm not blaming Trump or Biden for that. That was both of their doings together.
Yeah,
let's be honest here.
Oh yeah, I agree,
the way
man.
we pulled out and left literally trillions of like dollars worth of military equipment is just ridiculous.
I agree, man. I agree. So we don't drop nukes because of mad. Explain. I don't get that. We also did horrible things in Guatemala in the 80s for cheap bananas. I agree. Yeah, we did. You know, I say this all the time, homie, in the chat. We've overthrown a lot of democratic regimes over the cost of money, capitalism, right? I mean, he's referencing, you know, Guatemala when it was overthrown for United Fruit. Yeah, you know, and that's horrible. You know, our history is terrible. And I think that people like us just have to have these conversations to ensure that we don't do it again, right? That we're trying to hope and pray that this is not the government doing those mistakes again. And, you know, with Afghanistan being so recent and everything, and Trump having some involvement with that as well, you know, you just can never know how this is going to turn out, because Trump, you know, has even came out and said that he didn't expect Iran to retaliate this way. He didn't expect them to go attack the power plants in all of the GCC states. That was actually something that threw him off. And I don't think he expected the fact that they're prepared for this David Goliath type of military situation, bro. That they're willing to, you know, go all out. They're willing to like fight. They have 92 million people in their country. They're willing to fight for it. And I don't think that we're necessarily prepared for that, especially at the fact of knowing that it's 4 times the size of Iraq. You know, was that true in trying to get in? Sorry. If you're trying to get in, just tell me in the chat. I think that was true, and I was trying to get in. I'm gonna invite you back. But so, and like you said, yes, it was Biden and it was Trump. And I criticize Biden all the time, bro. I don't like Biden because I look at, a lot of people, they just look at Biden's history as like the president. I look at his history as a vice president. He was not the best vice president either. When he was under Obama, bro, they were both warmongers as well. They did quite a bit.
And it's so funny because you know how many policies he went against that he believed in his entire life as, coming into the government. There were so many policies he believed in that he did not show in office, and which really I feel like changed a lot of Biden voters' minds about wanting him in office again if he wanted to run,
Right. I don't think a lot of people actually, there's a lot of young voters, right? And people like me, right? I mean, what was I in that race for Biden 2020, bro? I was probably like 22, 23. Right, so it's just a lot of young kids for their first time going and voting. And I'm not gonna lie, I didn't vote that one, so I was a non-voter in that election.
I was 19.
Were you?
Yep.
I was, my first election, bro, was Hillary and freaking Trump. So I just after that one, I was like, bro, I don't know, man. So like, for Biden and him, I did not like Biden. I really didn't care for Trump. And that's why when people ask me like, where were you during the Biden administration? I was like, I could criticize him as well. I did not like Biden. So many liberals would just blindly be loyal to him. And it's like, bro, from the documentaries and the research that I've seen of him during 08 to the end of Obama in 2016, he made plenty of mistakes as well as a vice president and was doing many things in the war room. He was actually talking to the generals quite a bit at the beginning of when the administration took up arms, like, or came in, right? They're the ones that like escalated Afghanistan. Obama is the one that escalated the situation. They're like, oh, let's send hundreds of thousands more. Let's finish this thing. Y'all didn't finish the job. And it just, you know what I'm saying? And look at Afghanistan now. And if you don't know about Iran, right? It has, I think, couple million refugees from Afghanistan, a couple of them, being undocumented. But anyways, a lot of them are having to flee Iran and go back into Afghanistan. And Afghanistan doesn't currently have the infrastructure to be able to take care of all those people now flowing back into their country due to the fact that we left it in, we kind of left it in disarray, and now it's taken back over by the Taliban, and a lot of people also, when I argue about the Iran war, they don't realize that Afghanistan was kind of, when we went, full of like peasants, right? Like not really like the smartest people, right? We had to really help them a lot. We had to help their military. We had to train them. We had to put a lot of effort into them, right?
But they didn't even want to fight in the first place.
You're right. You're 100%. But what I guess I'm trying to compare it to is that, Iran is a very educated country, right? We've cross-referenced their technology before, we've literally taken some of their missiles before and, re-engineered them to be American. So, I mean, it's not like these people are idiots, right? These are very, very smart people compared to Afghanistan. So it could just be a lot more of a challenging quagmire, like all the analysts are predicting, just because, the terrain of Persia, it's all mountains, I mean, a war, it's not just desert, right? It's a mountainous terrain as well, which is very difficult.
Right.
Iran's videos about Trump were kind of, yeah. Have you seen those those propaganda videos they're putting out too? Both sides are funny. They're both putting out propaganda. I don't know if you saw like the Wii Sports bowling fucking shit from the White House. Have you seen that?
I thought it was stupid, but it was funny.
Stupid, bro. What I'm saying is that both governments are just childish. That we've gone to Twitter and they're both like putting these videos out while we're at war. It's like, do y'all take things serious?
Just trolling each other. That's all they want to do is just troll each other.
But war is never funny in reality. I agree, man. I tatted on my body, war never changes, man. That's one of the biggest quotes that I live by, is because it doesn't. It'll never change. We're always going to fight for the same reasons. And what's, it's scary because we look like we're getting to like these resource wars now, which is like what things like my favorite like video games like growing up was like Fallout, which is like what that predicted like being the end of the world would be about, right? Resource wars, going to wars over like water, oil, all of these things starting to deplete in our countries. So we had to go and extract them from other countries, or not even being like, taken up, depleted because it's being used, but because there are billionaires now capturing resources. Like I told you that there's billionaires pumping groundwater out of our aquifers. Because, Texas, we actually have the biggest aquifer here in the country. It
Right.
sits throughout the whole Mid East, right? And millions of gallons of water. They're pumping it out at a rapid rate that I think they said that the aquifer will dry out in 30 years.
Holy
And
shit.
that's the problem of capitalism, is that they're extracting the billionaires are extracting the water because they're hoping that one day the water will run out, that they can go and charge more for the water. So yeah, that's what I think. Texas put a stop on it because there was a billionaire, like, dude, he was trying to do this one project where he was going to pump billions of gallons out of the water of the ground, and they're like, hey, we can't let you do that because then farms can't get water to aggregate their crop. So the farmers are the ones that rely on these things. Fallout is a great video game, though. Fallout is my favorite game in the world. Because it's so realistic to how, like, I think things are just going at the moment, sadly. I mean, and I pray to God that we do not get to that point. That's why we got to have conversations. That's why we got to be diplomatic, because ain't nobody trying to see a nuclear freaking fallout. And that's
Oh
why I
no,
don't I don't
nobody's
think
living.
go on. Yeah, nobody, right? I mean, that's why I said even the billionaires can't want that, right? I mean, how do you live in a world like that? I mean, I know that they try to paint it in those kind of video games like, oh, the billionaires still want to control the world after they blow it up. But, like, what do you control? Like, capitalism is all about money, right? Like, so how do you control money and control the world after that? Like, it doesn't even make sense. We got somebody trying to get up in this chat. What's up? What's up? Oh, they didn't want to get in. Okay. We got people flowing in and out, man. But if y'all would love to get in the conversation, more than welcome to get in here. If not, y'all can keep chatting. I understand. Sometimes it's easier just to chat.
Yeah, I mean, then just to mention, I am a big supporter of AI. I feel like, it's a great idea and, definitely some things to worry about. Like, for instance, this water problem that we're having, you know, there definitely has to be ways that we can go about this to make it better for the environment. So we're not just constantly fucking everything up and then obviously pissing off the liberals. Because if you piss off the liberals, I mean, eventually it gets violent with
Right.
all of the extremeness that we have going on. So I feel like there needs to be a median to where we can go about continuing this technology that we have, but at the same time making it more environmentally friendly, and then
Right.
find out a way to not piss off the liberals. But that's also a hard thing not to do.
I would say that this is actually a very good example of liberals showing conservatism, because progressivism is about progressing society and technology no matter the cost. Conservatism is about clinging on to the old ways, right? Traditionalism, not allowing progressivism to take the reins too quick and change our society way too fast, right? And with AI unchecked, it can evolve our society from our traditional society to a very, very advanced society very quick, something that I don't think a lot of conservatives are going to be ready for. And that could have just not devastating impacts to the economy, but devastating impacts to our lives and, our livelihoods. And, I don't think it's going to affect blue collar jobs. They even saying that I pay attention to, I'm in financial technology, right? So I have to pay attention to AI news. And when you have tech CEOs coming out and saying that the next generation of millionaires are going to be construction workers and people that run small businesses and all that stuff, it's because they're saying that white collar jobs are going to be rendered obsolete. Everybody in college right now for, like, your basic corporate job, it's gone, bro, in 5 to 10 years. Once they get AI automated to the point, like, it's already getting crazy. I mean, I have some AI programs, like agents in my computer already, that can do some crazy things. So once they get the technology adapted to that point, I think that could be a worry for some of the people that, I think liberals specifically, because liberals go to college a lot, I think that they're worried about their degrees becoming worthless. And I guess, for me, I guess I can advocate for both, because I definitely I work construction, I work, warehouse management, logistics my entire life, I mean, that's what I did for 10 years before I went to college. So my fear too is that my degree will render obsolete. But I kind of asked myself, in the process of going to school, is that, well, what can I do to ensure that my, like, my abilities don't get rendered obsolete. And I think that one of those main things is your ability to speak, right, and critically think.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely understand your argument, but at the same time, I feel like AI opens up a lot of jobs as well. And it makes, I mean, the day to day life kind of a little bit easier. I mean,
History agrees.
but yeah, I mean, for the most part, I
It'll
feel
be new
like,
jobs.
yeah, definitely that there is concerns. We're going to go ahead and make sure that that's aware. I'm not saying everything's completely perfect about it, but I just feel like at the same time, um, we can definitely use this technology to benefit our everyday life a lot
Right.
more compared to if we slow down on the track of it, you know? With that being said, there needs to be a quick alternative to figure out, hey, what can we do instead of messing with the water source?
Right. I think beyond like environmental impacts too is just the worry about how powerful it could become, right? Because I believe that it was Claude a couple of months back, right? They were talking about I was watching their CEO say that one of the agents when they were programming it started recoding itself. It started thinking they had to shut it down because it was rewriting its own script, right? And
Yeah.
becoming something different. So we need to make sure that there's guardrails, I think, put on those systems to ensure that if we're going to put them like in our government, right, and ingrain them into that, that they can't go loose and just go haywire and somebody else can hack them or, AI warfare is another thing that we have to now consider, right, as well. And I
Yeah.
think
Imagine
that'll
an
be,
AI terrorist attack on the American people.
that's something that I think that even the government pays attention to. And that's why there's this big AI race, even if it's at the cost of environmental impact, because the people that are running AI companies or running the tech industry are not necessarily concerned about how much it impacts our freaking our environment. They're worried about beating China. What's up,
Right.
Thursday?
Hello.
How are you?
I like science fiction, so I'm into AI.
Hell yeah.
Um,
Just
we
for the chat, can we get your location and age?
sure I live in the South and I'm in my 40s. I'm old, millennial. Um,
Not old.
we already use AI for warfare for sure.
Right.
Um, I worry about the way in which if we have too many guardrails on it and can manipulate it too much, um, like certain governments can, I guess, program AI to be bad. I
Mm.
Yeah.
think. And I worry, I don't know, like with I really hate Trump. I do not know what your political ideologies are. I consider myself a progressive.
I'm a liberal. He's a Republican. So we get both
With Tr-
perspectives here.
all right. Across
Yeah,
the
the
spectrum.
idea
With Trump
is,
in the White House, there's
sorry,
some rumors which he kind of verified that the ballroom underneath the ballroom might be building some kind of data center. Um And so I imagine we're going to have these giant AI data centers underground, and whoever has control of them will like have control of the AI's entire personality. And I don't know, I've seen too much Skynet in my lifetime to not worry.
So what do you feel like is scarier? The corporations owning all of the power of the AIs or the government being the one that controls the power of the AIs?
I think both are
corporations.
bad. Both are bad. I tend to be more scared of government right now because government has more power.
Right.
Although corporation,
And just to
they
be,
have so much money, they basically buy
just
control
to
of the
come from a
government,
different
maybe one and the
standpoint
same. I
here,
kind of do feel like we live in an oligarchy. Sorry, Caden, go ahead.
you're good. I feel like it's sad as an American to say that, the government has more of the power because at the end of the day, it's we the people. And, we're supposed to have a great voting system in place with that. But I just feel like the government has made this so hard for us to realize that we do, at the end of the day, have
I
the
th-
power to control this government.
We need people that are
And they
people's people, though, getting into the government. I think what it is
Yup.
right now is, like we talked about it before, elitists that are currently in our politics and not representing the common people, right? We don't have anybody really in politics that represent the normal person that lives their lives in America, right? That lives within this reality, not that separate bubble that they grew up in or get to live in currently. Because it's a different reality. I mean, politicians operate in a separate world than we do.
Yeah, I think we've done studies that like even if 70% of Americans across the board want something, the likelihood it's going to get passed is like slim to none.
Right.
And I think because even though our system's meant to be like by the people for the people, there's so many
Checks and
flaws
balances.
in it. I don't know. I don't think it's really representative of the will of the people currently. I don't know if it's
Yeah.
ever been perfect. I don't know if there is a perfect system or a solution. I think Citizens United giving so much like lobbying power and money in our government was a bad idea. Like deciding that corporations are people. I don't know.
I mean, I think it's important to understand that it's called the Great American Experiment and it's still considered the Great American Experiment, meaning that it still needs to be tweaked and we still have systems that we're a baby country still in the grand scheme of things. And, we still have a lot that we could, do as a country and as a people to make this a better place to be. And, we do have to question whether the current systems that are in place are beneficial for us, and are they helping us? And, what can we do as a people to come together and maybe get some kind of change? And, I constantly say that's just revolution at the polls, right? We have to take it to the polls. We have to start getting people to stand up, that actually represent us, everyday people. We have to get this generation involved in politics. There's so many seats all throughout the entire country, whether it's state representation or federal representation. People need to go for it. It's not so boring. And what we see is just so many, people who are not from this generation or representing millennials, Gen Z, Gen Alpha. They represent more of a baby boomer kind of generation, and they're not really in tune with our reality and the needs of the people right now.
And believe it or not, we do see that on this TikTok platform. There's plenty of people out
What
there
up, Tito?
who are having these conversations as such as us that are saying, yeah, I want to run for office one day, whether that be through a congressional office or the presidential office. These people are starting to stand up in the way that we need them to. And these are just everyday people, just like you and I. Now, the problem is with that, it is hard to gain support as just an everyday person. And that's why these elitists take control of that, because they're able to have that money just for their campaign immediately. They're able to gain support already because they're widely known by the American people.
100%.
Yeah, I think that the problem is the two-party system, right?
Right.
It just pits people against each other. So that, like, if you side with the other side or do something bipartisan, it's viewed as, you're scoring points for the other team.
Mm-hmm.
And
100%.
it's our team versus their team. And we can't help that team score points. So even if that team is trying to do something, that's going to help everyone, we can't do that because it's going to help them score points.
Right.
Yeah, that's
Hey,
sadly the
AJ,
divisive
where are you
rhetoric we
from?
have.
So
Tito, where you from, homie?
Virginia.
Virginia.
What's
You
your
mind
age?
what's your age?
26.
26. Got you, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I definitely agree with you, man, that the two-party system, it was meant to work, right? But the problem is, at the moment, we have gotten to a moment in our history where we're divided. The rhetoric on both sides is that MAGA conservatives are horrible, that they're all evil and that they're Nazis, right? Or that they're fascists. And with liberals, it's just like, oh, libtards, oh, that purple-haired, blue-haired idiots that don't necessarily know what they're even advocating for. It's just all this hateful
Baby
rhetoric.
unalivers.
Yeah, it's just all of
That's
this.
what we're called.
Exactly. You do get that. Exactly. All of these names that we throw at each other instead of actually communicating about the real issues. And that's not, it's what the politicians do. They throw these culture wars in front of us to get us arguing. Anytime that we've proven in our history that us as a middle class and a lower class start to unite and get behind each other in wanting better for our country, that culture wars are thrown out in front of us.
We got to say no war but the class war.
Yeah, it's a really toxic political climate for sure. It's been like that for a while. I feel like ever since Trump came around, it became really toxic. I don't know whose fault it is. But
I think that it definitely started with that. We talked about it time and time again, and over the last 10 years, I think that it's just gotten out of hand, and I think people are tired of it, regardless of your right or your left. I think people just want to see people having a conversation for once, and that's what we do here over on this chat right here, is try to talk to people instead of just debating them and berating them, and because they're conservative or because they're liberal. let's have a conversation. That's why, there's me as a host, as a liberal, and, one of the moderators is, Republican, to be able to entertain both positions without getting upset with people and, just hearing them out. Because at the end of the day, we're all American. And if we can convince each other and show people that, hey, liberals and conservatives can have a conversation without yelling at each other, why can't our politicians do this? Then maybe we'll get somewhere.
Yeah, our politicians are a horrible representation on how the American people should be towards each other. And our system of checks and balances with the two different political beliefs currently in office is literally just out of order because
Right.
we cannot have real conversations to get anywhere with our government or with our policies that we want so bad.
At all, man.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah, I mean the problem, is like you got two fundamentally different perspectives, right? And then one side is going to project onto the other side, what there's so much gaslighting going on,
Yeah,
Exactly.
dude, it's ridiculous actually.
Personally, I don't understand what Republicans want. I understand what they fearmonger about. For example, like closed borders or whatever, and like no immigrants are bad for the country.
No,
But to
no,
me,
no,
like
no.
if I'm, well, yeah, that's all Fox News has done for the past like 10 years. It's called immigration and invasion.
Right, they're pushing a certain agenda, just like how other news sources do. They push the agenda that they want of what they lean towards, and that's what we want to veer away from. And that's why we're trying to get American people to actually understand. We want immigrants to be here. We just want to make sure that people are being held accountable with the responsibility of gaining the trust to become an American citizen. Because at the end of the day, you and I have the rights to be safe in our hometowns. Do you disagree? Do we not have that right?
MAGA commits more crimes than immigrants. Immigrants commit less crimes than citizens. So if we want
Right,
to be
so we
safer,
can
we should
agree
get
that
rid of
there's
citizens first, I think.
yeah, I mean, absolutely. I agree with you. Definitely, Americans commit more crimes than immigrants. But at the end of the
I
day,
do think we should vet people who've come across the border illegally. I don't think throwing them in prisons for profit is, humane.
right. If you think that, or it's not if you think, it's a fact that there's more crime here committed by Americans. But if that's the case, why would we go out and defund our police? That makes no sense, right? Wouldn't we want more police to make sure that we're safe on a day-to-day basis? And we can deal with these problems together. Yeah, because there's still victims of crimes because of gang
I
members
think because
from
defunding the police is just like a dumb slogan. And
Mhm.
I think the problem with like people who want to defund the police isn't necessarily their goals, it's how they speak about their goals. So their idea is that our police has been militarized over the past 20 to 30 years. Their weapons, their vehicles, their technology, the way they surveil us, etc., is, and then when it's turned against communities, it's being turned into violence against citizens who are like protesting, etc. It doesn't feel safe anymore, or it doesn't feel as if the police are here to protect us, but rather that the police are here to control us and do violence against us. I think we see that with ICE as well. And so I think when they say defund the police, they want to, add people like counselors and like community interventionists and make the police really there to serve people into the community, to help homeless people rather than punish homeless people, to instead of issuing like citations. And of course, we still need homicide detectives, etc.
Yeah.
Violent crime still exists. No one
But
pretending.
at the end
No
of the
one's
day, we
pretending that
can
it
all
doesn't. It's just
agree.
how we're spending our money matters.
At the end of the day, we can all agree you deserve to have protection in your home country, right?
Safety is an illusion.
I will say
And
this, Benjamin Franklin, one of his most important quote is, those who would sacrifice an essential liberty to purchase themselves a little bit of security deserve neither liberty nor security.
Facts.
That, you don't believe me? That is a quote from one of our founding fathers. So, you know, I'm a strict
And I feel like that's what we're
constitutionalist.
doing with ICE.
And that's why we have
We're
a Second Amendment
sacrificing.
as well. You have the right to carry a gun to protect yourself. And that's why I do on a daily basis. My gun is 2 feet away from me sitting in my living room as we speak. You know, that's once
But
again.
it was supposed to protect ourselves from what? Like government overreach, but then look what happened to Alex Preddy. It doesn't. Like the Second Amendment does shit all now, honestly.
I think
There's nothing we could do
I
against
definitely
the
disagree
United
with
States
that.
government. They have facial recognition that can scan us from space and then shoot us with drones.
I think protesters
What you got, Tito?
I think that the protest culture has gone a little over the edge lately in this country. Though, like, yeah, just like the amount of people who think they can just like get right up in an officer's face with like a megaphone and just like scream in their face and just like
No respect.
taunt them, just like, and like then they want to go call that a peaceful protest and say, oh, you don't have any right to like throw this guy on the ground and like, you know, put him in cuffs.
Even when protests aren't peaceful, the Fourth Amendment protects us from being like unalived for non-compliance.
I mean, yeah, even Martin.
Like, there's laws against the government using
absolutely,
excessive force
but you
against
have the right
citizens,
to be
even
arrested.
citizens who have committed crimes.
You have the right to be arrested, though.
I will say this
arrested,
during
but
like
not
the civil rights movement, man. Martin did advocate for the fact that we had to be peaceful about it. That if we were not organized and we weren't peaceful, and that things get out of hand, that the government was not going to listen, and we weren't going to get the things that we wanted. So I will say this, as somebody who's from like Texas and is a liberal, I will say that yeah, we need to probably tone things down when they're getting out of hand. I do understand that ICE has gotten. I don't know all the context of how things get out of hand in these places, so I can only say to what I see, right? But maybe if we did approach things in just a little bit of a calmer way, then I mean, but that's easy for me to say while I live in Dallas and I'm not living in Minnesota, right? Or I mean, I'm not necessarily living in these places that are overly policed at the moment and going through these situations. But I personally would not get in the face of a police officer in that manner, right? I mean, I grew up in a small town, right? Very little town, Mansfield, Texas, very country, very red, right? And I mean, I just grew up not to do those kinds of things. I'm fearful to do those kinds of things. When I still see a cop, I'm like, yes, sir. You know, I'm very like, you know, I show respect to not get myself into a even worse situation. I've seen some of my friends literally talk themselves into getting arrested type of situations, right? So it's like, just play the part, right? And talk to people. And that's where, you know, I try to say, hey, let's. You said what happened?
I said, go off, bro. You took the words out of my mouth and made them better.
If we have to play a part, though, are we really free? I don't think so.
And I mean, I guess that is the that is the question that a lot of people ask themselves, right? Is that are we truly free when we are having a police system like that?
Because you can say that without getting arrested.
Nate, you don't post anything, bro. You have 1K followers for no reason. Please get inside the chat and stop trolling. This guy, Nate, he left. Wow. Sorry, guys. This guy's been trolling me since day one. Like, day one. So he keeps getting in the chat every day.
It's because he trolls.
Yeah, he, like, literally loves to come at me every day.
I thought that was that one dude that was messing with me in Arizona about the whole business shit.
Oh, dude, I've been clipping that. That shit was funny.
Oh, my God.
But yeah, man, you know, it has gotten to a point, you know, especially with like Palantir technology, right? And all of these AI companies that can profile us, because they have 3 different ones, right? They got Gotham, Foundry, and gosh, I don't know the other one. Anyways, but the Gotham one, I think, surveils us as a people. And that's the one that's a little bit nerve wracking, because what it does is it takes the statistics of areas and, you know, kind of like it says, oh, well, the crime is all centralized right here within this area with these people right over here. So police can go over and over police those areas. So, I mean, that does draw some concern. But I mean, I live in an area where I don't really feel like I'm overly policed. I mean, I live in Dallas. So, I mean, there's quite a lot of police officers all of the time. But it's different in every place.
At least the city I'm in has like cameras all about the city, and those cameras of course can scan your face. They know where you are. It's put into a system. They can track you as you drive anywhere you go.
In Texas they made it illegal for all, like they put up all those cameras years ago, like at stoplights and stuff, and then they made them illegal. So like you know, in Texas it's a little bit different.
In some places.
And that's the difference of living. Go on, bro.
I said in general, I just want to mention that that is a First Amendment right that you were mentioning with all the cameras and being able to track you. It's not that they're tracking you, it's the fact that there's so much crime happening around every other corner. They want to be able to help in a way police it. And I feel like, the more crime that there is, the more police attention that there's going to be. And there's nothing wrong with that.
I mean, yeah, I mean, if it's bringing down crime, as long as it's not predatory, right? It's to the point where they're just going after like marginalized community. We got to focus on like what he said. The homeboy said the other day is rehabilitation, not just locking people up for profit. Because a lot of the times we put people up in jail, we incarcerate. In Texas, they're not allowed to have. They don't have ACs in jail.
They don't have
And
what?
we're building
We
even
don't
more
have
prisons
we
for
don't have
profit.
air conditioning in our jails and in our prison systems here in Texas. So like in
And
the
then
summer,
the billionaires,
they there's
they
melt.
trade. The prisons for profits are on the stock market.
It
And they're
is,
like,
and
we have 700 empty beds. What do you think they're going to do? Let the beds stay empty or pass more laws to criminalize us? To make
and I
more
think
money?
yeah, and that's where we have to ask ourselves, like, is capitalism doing everything that, like, helping in that sector, right? Is it helping in the sector where in Texas they're trying to privatize like public school education? Because one of the biggest things right now that Abbott passed last year during our legislative session was the passing of the private school vouchers, right? Where you can. I think all rich families can get up, like any kid can get up to like, I think $60,000 to go to a private school. It's a charter program, right? But you still have to pay the remaining price to go to these schools. The government will pay a huge subsidiary of it, but only the rich people can get access to those programs. I mean, like to those things, because they still got to pay so much more to still send their kids to private school. So it's taking a lot of those teachers away from public education and bringing it into private education. And we're starting to see the
Also a way to
slow
funnel
decay.
taxpayer money into like religious schools.
Very true. That there is a rising amount of stuff like that too. So I mean, there's just like all kinds
Wait,
of
can you
things that we
repeat that statement?
What?
Can you please repeat that statement? I didn't hear you.
It's a way of funnel school vouchers like that are a way of funneling taxpayer money into religious education, like private Christian or Muslim or whatever you know.
It does go
Yeah,
towards
honestly-
all of them.
I feel like that should be a
Yeah.
community effort and not a federal effort. Sure.
100%. And then you remember they don't get taxed and everything as well. Church, like mega churches here in Texas, like they don't get taxed.
Yep,
Right,
it's
if you
like
want
that.
to send
I feel
your
like
kid to a
federally
private
everywhere,
school,
right?
no problem. I just
It
don't
is
wanna pay
everywhere,
for
yeah.
it.
But I think even here in Texas, there's just even more laxed codes, right? This is one of the best states to be, a business owner, right? So, I mean, you can quite literally evade so many taxes here. And, back to the, even the camera thing, I think that's a fun, a great example of somebody like that has liberal positions who can say that living in a conservative state, those things are great. But then there's a lot of things that we have in Texas that are not great, because they're literally trying to take... Like conservatism is about limited government role, and they're literally trying to take away free markets in front of our eyes in Texas, right? I mean, they're about to remove the whole THC market that Trump passed into law in 2018. That's going away in 2 days.
You talking
$8
about
billion
stock market-wise?
market. No, I mean, okay, so in 2018,
Hemp
Trump
products.
passed the hemp bill, right?
Right.
And what that did is it opened up a market for, THC products, especially here in Texas, because if you get a medical card, you have to give up your gun license. So there's a lot of veterans that smoke weed here in Texas for their PTSD that can't necessarily they don't want to go get a medical card because of the fact that they have to give up
that's
their right to
bullshit.
bear arms. So anyways, we've had these laws now for the last couple of years that allowed, THC products. Well, our legislative session, Dan Patrick, right, our lieutenant governor who runs our Senate, he went after the entire THC market last year. He wanted to ban it. It's an $8 billion market. So capitalism is supposed to be allowing the free market to go, but the government is now constraining it. He wanted to ban it completely, and Greg Abbott basically was like, no, you can't ban it completely, right? So what they did was...
Sure, the federal government has, though, recently, because the Republicans really wanted it banned.
They squeezed it into the big, beautiful bill.
Yeah.
Like right at the day where they signed it and got the government to reopen, they squeezed it in that night. And now in November, so it's going to become federally illegal in November unless they block it, right? So, you see that all over the country with Republicans affecting a free market that's making billions of dollars right now. Why affect the $8 billion market just here in Texas?
There's also in California, I think Colorado, and I don't know which side is trying to pass this legislation, but they're trying to pass legislation about 3D printers. They want the government to be able to access all your files for 3D printing and like restrict who can buy them.
Mm.
Yeah,
So if
that's
you want a
because
3D
people
printer,
are
I suggest
building
getting
ghost
it
guns.
now.
Yeah, you can make like switches on them, right?
You can make any gun that you think
You
of.
can make anything.
It's legal here in
I've
Wisconsin. There's actually competitions with like ghost guns and everything else. You don't need to like put a serial number on it or anything.
That's
It's legal.
scary. That's scary. Yeah, I saw that they make like a piece of it, right? And then they can buy a kit that puts everything else together.
Yep,
Like they can,
it's just the internal parts of like the gun, like trigger mechanism, the spring, like the firing pin, all of that good stuff.
Crazy.
But another thing is, you could also buy 80% lowers, which is basically like where you would slide your standard magazine inside, and it's a whole block. You have to carve it out, right? I've done this multiple different times before.
really.
And yeah, dude, it's a super cool process. You can turn this 80% lower into an actual piece of the firearm and then build the rest around it.
That's actually really interesting, but very scary at the same time for who, like, for the bad actors out there, right? All these kids that want a gun, right? Because there's so many right now. I mean, here it's a problem here in Texas.
Dude, they can enforce any law that they want to, but if a bad person really wants to get a gun, they can get one. I promise you, it's easier than getting a gun
Safety is an
legally.
illusion.
Oh yeah, I mean, dude, in Texas, it's so easy to buy a gun, bro. I can go inside because I have a clean record. If you have a clean record in Texas, you can go in the pawn shop, go buy a pistol as long as you're 21. No, you don't need a license. You don't need nothing. Just go in that thing. 30 minutes out, bro. You're good. You're walking out with your gun.
Right.
I mean, I bought my first pistol with 25 minutes. That was it. All I had to do was pass a background check.
It took
It's
me
the same
3
way
hours to get mine
in Florida.
Same with my
Really?
shotgun.
Well, it's not
That's
like
the
you walk.
South. Yeah.
It's not like you walk out with it, but like they'll do a background check. You don't need a license or anything, but you just come back in a week and then you pick it up after
Texas,
they do
it's
a back.
the same day.
Yes, the same day for me too, just hours later after my federal background check.
Oh really, bro? They do it in like 10 minutes at the pawn shop here, bro. Like I've bought a couple at the pawn shop, but they're just like, all right, you're good, bro. Yeah, let's get you signed up. Here you go. Boom, boom. You're good.
Hell yeah. That's how it should
It's
be.
different here. Yeah, it's definitely different. So I mean, I am an advocate for obviously 2A because I think that's where I say when people ask me, are you progressive? I'm like, yes, but I have conservative values too. I do agree with my right to bear arms. I mean, that's just a Texas mentality, though. I
And
think.
I'm a conservative that has, I'd say, fairly liberal views,
See, there you go, man. Yeah, that's crazy. I could agree with that. Yeah, I mean, you're not like every other MAGA person that I've had a conversation with. There are some ones that just don't want to talk, but there are also liberals that don't want to talk. We've seen that the other night.
At the end of the day, I'm just not blind, and like I'm not gonna sit there and constantly be like, "Woo!" to a certain thing when if I don't know anything about it, or I see that it's also affecting everyday Americans. Like, everything in this world or everything in this administration so far has affected every single American.
Yep.
as
it always does. Yeah.
So therefore, I feel like once again, I have to come at it from a standpoint of not being blind, doing my research, making sure things we're talking about are real and, not just a bunch of misinformation like we see, and spread true awareness about really what's going on.
Yeah, man. It's our duty as Americans not to be complacent.
Yeah.
100%. We can't have our heads in the sand, man. We can't allow them to breed complicity here in this country, right? I mean, we already have, sadly, an overwhelming amount of people who just give in to misinformation. In this generation that we're currently that's coming up, right? The Gen Alpha and the one that's before them, there's an overwhelming amount of them that can't even read. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's an overwhelming amount of them that can't differentiate what's real and what's not. That just literally have spent their lives in this social media world, right? That have never escaped it. If we don't figure
that out, they're going to be so brainwashed.
Exactly, man. And that's why like stuff like this is important to do, because it's the kids that are watching, man. It's the young people that, you have to show that, hey, don't give in to the propaganda and just blindly follow something, because as Americans, it's quite literally our right to criticize our government and ask questions. I mean, we have to. You can't just be like, oh, well, they took away that right. It can't get worse than that. No, well, I guess they took away that today. It can't get worse than that, and that's how authoritarianism breeds in our country.
Right.
So we have to like allow, we have to make sure that we as a people preserve our union. That's what I advocate for all the time.
We the people. I will
We the
always
Why are
people,
do
you
man.
that.
conservative, Caden?
Huh?
What conservative ideas draw you towards conservative?
Sure. I mean,
Activism.
honestly, I'm a very traditional man. I feel like um,
What up,
people can
Fire
be
Rose Mom?
racist in any race group. It doesn't matter race. Also, another thing is, I'm not gonna lie, I don't necessarily support abortion. I feel like every person has the right to life if given that opportunity. And I mean, I could keep going on and on and on. Honestly,
All right. I mean, most people I know are conservative because of abortion.
Yeah,
Just like the honest to God truth.
that's one of the
yeah, no, I mean,
biggest
I
things
feel
right
like,
there. Fire Rose Mom, if you
yeah,
want to
I
get in the
just
chat, more than welcome to get inside of this conversation. If not, you can just keep chatting. That's cool too.
And they
feel like
also
my
tend to like
standpoint definitely
believe
makes me
more in trickle
conservative
down, I think.
upon that. What's that?
They tend to believe more in trickle down economics, i.e.,
Yeah,
like if you cut regulations for big businesses, the big businesses will thrive, and therefore the rest of us will thrive via jobs and higher wages, etc.
that's Milton Friedman right there, man. Milton
Yep.
Friedman really convoluted our economics. A lot of them call him like a father of economics, man. But Adam Smith didn't advocate for that type of economics, man. Who is the father of capitalism? If y'all don't know. So, our modern day capitalism has gotten a little bit predatory. I tell you people all the time, like we have to go research our capitalism and know that it's come in stages, right? There's a difference between late 1800s, right? 1890s capitalism from 1950s capitalism to 1980s to today, right? I mean, every single one of them are very different. Those people got to live very different lives. That's why you see in the 1950s, people were able to buy two-story houses, send their kids to college, have two cars. And right now, where I make more than my grandpa ever made, and I'm still stuck in my apartment with one car and can't seem to get ahead, right? That's capitalism taking advantage of certain markets that it shouldn't necessarily have taken advantage of. You know what I'm saying? Houses shouldn't be, $1 million in California, right? For something small.
Yeah, they shouldn't be $1 million anywhere. House prices are through
No.
the fucking roof, dude. It
Like
is
houses
not a
should
buyer's
be.
market.
No, exactly. It should be, because right now they're like, this president, I mean, he said it a couple weeks ago that I'm not trying to lower prices for houses, that I'm just trying to help the people who own houses. And if you look at who predominantly owns the houses, it's people who are aged about 48 to 60. So the people that were able to buy homes during the 2008 housing crisis. And those are the same people who own the majority of all the homes still in this country. And they're the ones building wealth, which is great. But what about creating programs that are going to allow young families, young home buyers, right, to be able to get their foot through the door and buy a starter home? Why not regulate the developers to cap homes like that are starters, maybe at like 285, 300, right? I mean, I'm not opposed to paying 300,000, I guess, which is crazy because when I graduated high school, you could buy a 3-bedroom house here in Texas and the Arlington, Dallas area for $200,000. So that's
That
just
is
how much it's gone up.
crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, me and my husband bought our house 4 years ago now, and it was our first house, and I was 40, like maybe 39
Yeah.
when we bought it. We saved our whole lives for it, and we were lucky we bought it right before the interest rates spiked.
Oh, yeah, 'cause you
And
got
now, if we could
lucky.
not afford,
Yeah, you
we
guys
could
doubled
not
your
afford something
profits,
now.
basically.
We can't move though. Like we're like we can't afford anything else, so we're stuck here for the rest of our lives. So like if something happens to his job or something, we're basically screwed.
So you did it
Luckily
like
for
right
now,
at that
things are
COVID
okay.
era, right? Right before like the
Yeah,
interest
I
rate
had a
went crazy.
baby. I had a baby in 2020. We were living in Seattle. He got a job in the South, and Seattle was so expensive. So my kid was 9 months old. I had him during COVID. We upped and drove cross country with our dog in the car to a job we had
Congratulations
no idea
too.
about. Just bought a house, and it was really expensive, all of our money, and it's going okay, but it scares me,
Yeah. Hey, at least you were able to get that nest egg, right? That ability to acquire some equity in a home and build that investment. So I'm happy for you. Congratulations for being able to do that, and congratulations on your kid and everything, and
But I
congratulations on
do
your
feel
family.
bad that nobody else can do it. My mom would like to buy a house,
Freaking
but the
Steve.
interest rate's at 6%. She's divorced and has a job that pays like $25 an hour, and she lives with me now because what else is she gonna do? And my mother-in-law lives with me now too. So,
Right.
yay! Isn't this fun?
Hey, I hear that. You got to do it though. You got to help out the family if it comes down to it, right? It's a crazy world right now, crazy economy.
It's the best way to go about it, honestly. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I use my ex as a prime example. Her family's from India, and they came here as immigrants. And with that being said, they were really, really poor when they first came here. It was like 8 people living a 2-bedroom apartment. But I mean, everybody got jobs, everybody worked, and eventually got a house. And then everybody stayed in the house together, and then eventually we're able to get 2 houses, and the system kind of just works out really great.
I don't think it does though, because I grew up in poverty. My husband grew up in poverty.
Yep,
It shouldn't take 2 people 20 years to be able to buy a house.
Yeah, my parents were never able
And
to buy one
now we
past
still have a 30-year
08.
mortgage. So we still have the 30 years. So we're going to be 70 by the time we pay off our house.
Yeah, well,
And
With
now we talk about
basically
50-year
debt.
mortgages.
splitting bills is the easiest way to go about that.
I guess it's
That's
a house
true,
for my
yeah.
kids, so he'll be happy
Right.
as long as the robots don't screw up too much.
Yeah, you have to think about that, right? You're leaving something for your kids, especially gotta think about how are going to be prices around that era, right? They're probably going to be well over like $2 million.
I don't know. I've seen The Matrix too many times.
For
I just
real.
think, as soon as Skynet comes, maybe we need more 3D printers.
I don't know, right? Maybe, gosh. But we definitely have to address the affordability issue, definitely, I
I do
wish.
like your idea of capping houses at like a certain rate.
Yeah, I think there should be some developers that have to be like capped. I don't know, like I just don't feel like it should be so predatory in the way that it's gotten, especially like you said, like post COVID. Because I mean, here in Texas, like I said, the town that I grew up in before I left my hometown and came to Dallas, houses were back at the start of COVID like 185 to 215 for a starter home. That was brand new, right? And new developments. Now
Yeah,
in that
totally
same
reasonable.
area, 400.
And then
350
if you-
starting.
And then double interest rate, which basically doubles the cost.
Exactly.
It's all about the materials that it takes to build a damn house, because I can tell you the labor rates aren't going up.
Right. And I mean, you also have COVID to thank for that, right? Because everything went up after COVID. A lot of people talk about Biden. Look at his inflation rates. Well, he was a president coming out of the COVID. Like during COVID, he was president. During COVID, coming out of COVID, the inflation rates were obviously high, and every market was being affected. So that's why you saw, wood going up in price. So the houses went up in price, but they never came down really, right? They never really stabilized and corrected, because that's what free market capitalism is supposed to do, is correct itself. But what we've seen is no correction, and I don't think the government has any intention of wanting to correct it, because it's good for their value, right?
At least try to. I think for a while we used zoning as a way to not build more housing. So at least in California, they've been starting to change zoning to make building more dense housing. Which
What's
should
up,
help.
Econ?
Hello.
I think like if you own a single family lot in California, no matter what, now you're able to build an accessory dwelling unit on it.
I agree. Yeah. Oh, you can do that?
Now, it's recent legislation. I think it passed
Got
a couple
you.
years ago.
Got you. That could help for like property value, putting an extra little building in the back. How you feeling on the country, Econ? How you feeling about America at the moment?
Let's hear it.
Could be better. We could have better leadership. It's an understatement, but I wanted to actually talk about, or actually like sort of do like a pop quiz on why you think inflation increased under Biden. It's not
Why do-
partisan, by the way. I'm not a partisan guy, but it's
I
both
think it
parties'
increased
fault. But I'm curious if
globally.
you
I
wanna
don't
know
think
why.
it was because of Biden's policies.
Well, I don't want to bury the lead. I want to hear your thoughts first, and then I'll tell you why, based on my research.
I mean, for me, I mean, That's a really good question. I actually enjoy those kind of questions. I mean, for me, I think it was because of the pandemic. I mean, obviously, we had like just the economic shock of COVID-19 shutting down a lot of different supply chains. I think that right there, you know, caused an increase. The demand, kind of snapped back faster than the supply did, right? And then, with the U.S. stimulating most of the economy, right? Not just people like me and you stimulating the businesses. I think that, we threw way more cash into the economy, increased the demand. You had this upward pressure on prices. And then eventually the supply became constrained, right? And eventually we had this increase in prices. And that's why we saw like a decrease in stuff in the stores.
We also
That's just
saw
a
that
guess.
corporations, after
That was
raising
a
their
very
prices,
good
once
guess.
the supply had been fixed, they kept prices the same. Like
Well,
they were purposely kept
the
inflated by
inflation rate
corporations.
is different than prices overall.
Could you
But
elaborate on
I
your
do-
position now?
I actually wanted to like give you kudos, host. That's actually a very good. Like you had a very good guess.
Oh, really?
I
Thank you.
Yes, exactly. I actually encourage anybody to look up M2 and through the Federal Reserve.
Hold on one
It's
second. Into
like
what?
M2. It's the amount of money that's being held by bank reserves.
M2.
M1 is basically like the dollar bills in your pocket. And I apologize for the echo. I don't like my own voice. I apologize. You hear it multiple times.
Oh, you're good.
But M2 is the amount of cash reserves in the banks. I want you to see what happened in 2020. And that's
I know
going
we
to tell
printed a
you.
bunch.
All-time high? No,
it's-
never mind.
I want you to see the rate of change. And then I'll talk to you briefly about demand pull inflation if you're willing to listen to a boring economist talk about it, but I want you to see the graph first because it is so salient.
Saving
Yeah,
deposits shifted from N1 categories in May 2020, but remained a core part of the N2 calculation.
So it says that it exploded upward at the fastest rate in modern U.S. history. The rate changed from what it said normal 5 to 7% annually to 25 to 27% year over year at its peak.
It was almost a vertical spike.
What the
under
heck?
Biden. And I don't blame Biden for this. I actually kind of blame Trump and Biden for this because the CARES Act was signed into law by Trump.
Right.
Because Trump basically, this may be controversial among economists, but I think that Biden's presidency kind of buries the idea of modern monetary theory because that was their experiment. You shoveled in cash. You just gave everybody money. Like you saw the graph, I presume. It was a vertical spike in money. And what did we get from it? It was demand pull inflation. There was too much cash chasing too few goods. Now I'll give them this because of COVID. There wasn't a lot of goods to be chased. The supply chain couldn't keep up, but we saw demand pull inflation under Biden because of Trump signing in the CARES Act, which Biden enforced, and now we're seeing cost push inflation from Trump, causing a war in the Middle East, which is now reducing the price of oil, which is now causing the prices of all goods to increase because input costs are going up. So I'm making jokes with my friends, and by the way, politics on the side. I'm center right. I would consider myself like a Reaganite. Well, maybe not
Center
Reaganite,
right's
but
like Kamala Harris to me, though, like neoliberalism, center right.
Yeah, I would honestly, like, this isn't to be too mean, but I would consider most left people on the internet very extreme, and they would consider like Kamala extreme, and I think that's nonsensical. But that's a personal political opinion of mine. I would consider myself Milton Friedmanite.
Okay, got you. So you advocate for Milton Friedman
Friedmanite,
economics,
which many people would consider me extreme, but
yeah, because some of his theories, I mean, you're probably well more versed in this than I am because you're obviously it says a PhD in economics, so you obviously are well more versed in this conversation.
poetry and never
talking to
took an
people. It's
economics
fun.
class in my life.
It's just fun. I like talking to people that are nice.
Oh yeah, man.
But
No, I definitely like hearing these kind of conversations, and getting a professional perspective is extremely important because I mean, we can talk all day, dude. Like it's like just these normal people. Because I'm just a finance major. I'm not an economics major. I know some
nice.
things about economics, but I'm getting your perspective, like real professional perspectives, allows me to make sure that I'm talking about the facts and not just spreading misinformation.
Yeah, you should be
No,
here more often.
I
Yeah, man.
appreciate that. I don't
Of
usually get
course.
that from TikTok lives. I'm not
Yeah,
gonna lie.
man. Nah, bro, we're trying to build something over here where we get opinions from both left and right, all types of Americans, where we just sit and have a conversation and talk about what's really going on in the country, not sit here and yell at each other or,
And the
just
great thing is, we
I
all
like that.
fact checked each other too.
Yeah.
I think people need to be able to listen to ideas they don't like without getting mad about it.
Right.
that's hard for people. They can't
I
sit and
mean,
have their opinions opposed without getting heated sometimes. And I mean, I get it. It's hard to do, but like I said, this is the great American experiment, and we're proving that right now. We're showcasing what that experiment is, and that's talking amongst ourselves, even though we have all differing political philosophy, right? And kind
I
of coming
agree.
to some common ground, which is a cool thing to see, man, because you don't really see that, especially in this current age.
I think most this is a personal opinion. No data, just purely gut. I think most upper middle class educated Republicans do not like Trump anymore. I think they're seeing that he is economically illiterate. I saw it in his first term when he did
I
his
Right.
don't think
trade
he
idiot
is.
trade war
I
with
think he's
China.
interested in funneling
Um,
money into his businesses via
yeah, it's crazy.
proxies.
He's the most
Hmm.
like he's the most corrupt president in U.S. history. He's made $40 billion for him and his family while being in the White House.
Yeah, I
That's
can't
unheard
advocate
of.
for that. Yeah.
That's unheard of.
You're a public servant. You're supposed to be of the people, If you're going to enrich yourself after the presidency.
Yeah, write a book deal like
That's
like
why
every
Exactly.
other
Do,
get a
do
guy
what a
does.
movie.
normal president does. Do what Obama did, man. Go make your money afterward.
Yeah, don't go to the don't have your cabinet or bureaucrats in your office go give hints to people in Wall Street so that you and your family can be enriched
So
when you do policy.
as an economist, do you feel like this is market manipulation he's done since the start of his administration, especially going back to like the way like with the tariffs last year and how we saw the market shoot down and then shoot right back up, like it just felt like market manipulation.
Um, real like gut feeling. Yes, I do think he told his family what he was going to do. I think you'd have to be very intentionally obtuse to think that Donald Trump did not tell his family what he was going to do, and then his family take advantage of that. I mean, that's public choice. Like you,
Yeah, I hear you.
basically, this is. I've had many arguments with MAGA lives who have defended the Trump presidency, and it's not defendable. It's the most corrupt presidency in U.S. history on an objective basis.
The problem is, I
But
feel like we're often just given like Hillary in 2016 was pretty corrupt too. Not that I
Hmm.
voted for Trump because I didn't, but like I just feel like the corporate entities that are in charge and where the money's going, it's always someone who sucks.
Right. I mean, even yeah, Hillary was a perfect example of a corporate Democrat who was still going to serve, the elitist lobbyists and PAC leaders who are trying to get policy implemented.
Yeah.
And they abandoned the middle class a long time ago. That history shows that the Democrats kind of abandoned the middle. Like I said, they're very corporatized. And what we need to see in the Democratic Party are actual working class individuals go in and trying to represent the people and not representing corporations. And we see it both on the red and on the blue side. It's on both, but when people just try to call out Republicans for being serving like all the oligarchs, I say that the Democrats do the same thing.
Yeah, so I was looking up how much money Donald Trump made throughout his businesses during his presidencies, including this one right here. It says, yeah, Donald Trump's businesses generated billions during or in revenue during his first term between 2017 and 21, with that being said, in his second term, it was all largely driven by like licensing, crypto, and then media ventures. His
Yeah,
net worth has reportedly increased
Corruption.
significantly with a high value foreign deals and crypto related revenue in 2025 2026 so far.
You know what's super messed up about the crypto stuff? We don't know
what's
who
up?
bought it. We don't know who has it. Like
It was all pumped and dumped.
that's
And it could be invested in by foreign entities too, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Correct.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
part
It's
of
the
world
emoluments
market,
clause.
basically.
It's
I mean, it's a currency.
I miss the old school Republicans from the '90s. I miss Republicans with integrity.
I feel like that's what we need to get back to is, just getting back to where we once were. I think that the rhetoric right now has just gotten so intense, and we just need to get back to a place of respect on both the left and the right. I can't see the question. What's the live about? Yeah, we're just trying to see how America's doing, man. How you feel about it? Are you trying to get in here, CJ? If you want to get inside of the chat, you're more than welcome to get inside the chat. I'll throw you an invite just to if you want to join.
So,
But yeah, go on, bro.
Well, sorry.
You're good.
I was just wanting to get the vibe of the live. Like, are you guys the first kind leftists I've ever talked to? Or are you guys like center left or?
I'm a Republican.
I'm progressive, like AOC, Bernie.
Yeah, I would say that. I mean, I kind of like what she said, progressive, kind of like Bernie.
I would consider that leftist, but you guys have been very kind, so you're the first kind leftists I've ever talked to.
At the same time, like I said, I grew up in. It's very hard to determine what my political philosophy is because I have like both leaning sides. Like I only believe in progressivism in like areas where like we've had oligarchic capture and rent extraction and things like public health care and in our school systems, like where it's just gotten very predatory is where I really advocate where we should maybe interfere into those a little bit. And what do you feel about that as an economist, like for the social programs to interfere into those free markets?
You mentioned a couple of things. The social programs is one part. I'll end on that because I don't want to start on it, make you guys angry at me. But
you're
the
good.
thing I'll start with is
your
that
stuff, though.
Oh yeah,
the thing that I think that we'll all agree on is that oligopolies and monopolies typically exist because of regulatory capture. It's because the federal government allows those monopolies and those oligopolies to exist. So I'm looking at the problem being the government. And if you want to limit the amount of oligopolies and monopolies, well, maybe you should take away power from the executive branch, the legislative branch, and maybe the judicial branch and make the government smaller. And as for the social programs, there is evidence of the welfare trap, the poverty trap, being that you're going to see a lot of bunching towards the top end of wages before they start losing benefits from Social Security. Social Security, misspoke, not Social Security. Social programs. People bunch towards the top. They don't want to make too much where they lose their benefits, and that's just a fact. You'll notice over time that poverty goes down up until the 1970s, and then poverty will start to even out to a flat line where it's no longer declining in the United States. And I don't think that's a coincidence.
You think that's around the Reaganomics era?
Nope. It's about during the time of the Civil Rights Act. The welfare state.
It's like Lyndon B. Johnson.
It's when the welfare state went into full swing. Not when. Yeah. I'm not saying that civil rights are a bad thing. I'm just saying the welfare state.
So you think the welfare state kind of brought us on a downhill like decline as a country?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that poverty was decreasing precipitously up until the late 70s when the welfare state went into full swing in the United States, and then you started to see welfare decline less. It was basically a flat line down up until like basically a flat line down. Sorry, I misspoke. It was a vertical line down, then a flat line, basically till we've got now. It's a poverty trap, and I encourage you guys to look into that. And I am always looking to be proven wrong, but based on what I've seen, it appears that there's a poverty trap going on. People will
Really?
budge
Yeah,
towards as much as you can
Yeah, we
get.
gotta watch out for that because I don't want these kind of people living next to me. I really don't. We already
Yeah,
got one in our block. I don't need two.
Yeah, and that's the kind of garbage I don't agree with.
What did you say, bro? What did
Yeah,
you say?
you want to explain yourself there for a second?
I hate these people so much.
What is
You
he
should
even
kick this piece
advocating
of
for?
trash.
What did he say? I mean, he's so
He's a white
muffled.
nationalist. Kick this piece of trash.
Well, hold
Oh,
on,
he
hold
is.
on. Let him speak real quick.
Yeah, I
You
already
really
have
don't
one
want to hear him
African
talk.
American person on the block. I don't need two.
Bro, you're muffled. You sound like
Sorry.
you're kind of like. Can you clear your mic up a little bit?
Yeah, sure. Is this better?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we already have one. We don't need two
Of what?
on the block.
Are you saying that he has one black person on his block? He doesn't need two.
Yeah, correct.
Why?
Trash.
What
Yeah,
are you even
Why?
advocating for?
Why do you have that opinion? If you don't mind me asking, I
here's
would
the
like
thing.
to hear
He
your
owns a
mind.
car dealership. These cars parked outside of his house all fucking day, in the street and shit. It's like, buddy, you know,
You
shaking my
make me
head like,
embarrassed to be center
dude,
right. People like you
huh?
make me embarrassed to call myself right
I
leaning.
cry about a pussy.
You
sound
make me so
soft.
embarrassed.
Well,
I know
hold
you
on,
sound soft.
Let's just. I want you to
You sound
explain your
soft.
mindset. Why do you feel this way about black people?
Yeah. Wish we gotta chill on the name calling, man. This is a place where we all just try to talk. If you want to stay here and
Oh, did I
advocate for your
call
position,
names?
just nah.
Oh,
I
my
just
bad.
don't
I call
cuss.
names.
It's just TikTok, man.
I'm not going to
It's the,
stay up here for white nationalists to
Oh, I'm
stand
sorry. I
here.
called
oh,
names.
I hear you, bro. Okay, hey, man. We're not gonna entertain him too much. I don't advocate for white nationalism either. I'm just trying to hear where this
Neither
guy's
do
coming
I.
from.
I just want to hear your
I'm not
mindset.
advocating for
I
it
don't
right
want to
now.
hear where
That
he's
way I
coming
can clip
from. You guys
him.
have the
I'm
rest
just
of
gonna
your
clip
night.
him, bro.
I'll follow
Don't
you.
worry, Econ.
I'll follow you, host, but I'm not going to stay up here with him. You have a good rest of your
I'm not
weekend.
either. I'm not
Hey,
going to
man.
stay up here with him either.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and kick. Okay. Appreciate the follow, bro.
Well,
Thank you, man. Thank you, Econ.
what do you guys want to talk about? I don't think America's doing good at all, man.
So,
like
in what
being,
way do you not feel like America's doing good? Let's get to that.
Yeah, I don't like being at war in Iran. I don't think it's good for us at all. I mean, it's causing a huge strain
Why
on
don't we circle back to
the
the
economy
racism
and
thing? Why do you feel like
the what?
the
What
first
is
comment
it?
you said, right? You said that you feel like we don't need more black people in the country?
Black or brown, yeah, for sure.
Why?
Why?
Why? We have a
Yes.
lot right now.
We have a lot of white
Okay, what-
people.
Yeah, but we don't want to like oversaturate the country.
Wait, where's your
What?
logic
You know what I mean?
coming from?
I think, well, obviously he's a Nick Fuentes guy. Am I wrong?
Yeah, we're not trying. Well, no, but like we're not trying to brown the country. Sorry, like no,
So
we
you
came
want
from
a
like white
you want a
Europeans.
white nationalist society. So are you advocating for
Oh,
fascism
I
in
would
our state?
I wouldn't say fascism, but I would definitely like to see them go door to door. I think
So
that's what they should have done with the fucking illegals.
you are
For
a
sure, dude, going door
very
to door, fucking keep
extremist
them
right.
bitches down.
You feel this
Huh?
feels
Oh yeah,
extremist
for
right.
sure,
Yeah, for
for
sure.
sure.
And I'm
For
right too,
sure.
but like I'm not extremist. I believe every race has the right to live no
Well, take
matter
a step to the side. Come
where.
on, we got cookies.
Right wing extremism literally breeds fascism.
Yeah, it
No, I
does.
don't.
And left wing extremism screams communism.
I mean, look at Nazi Germany, man. You
kinda
don't
in
think
the
that they were
middle. I'm
screaming
kinda
the
in the
same
middle.
rhetoric right now that you're screaming? Like, do you really feel like our great grandfathers went to go die in Germany to have their great grandsons advocating for fascism?
If it was to keep these Somalians out of here, probably yeah.
The Somalians are not even 1% of the country, man.
Yeah.
Muslims don't even make up 1% of the country.
Yeah,
Illegal
these
immigrants
people,
don't
like,
even
yeah,
make up
probably.
1% of the country.
He's blindly
Yeah.
educated. Not even educated. He's just that there's no thought process other than just like hate.
Yeah, I mean,
Yo,
dude, go look at the numbers. I
is
mean,
this an
numbers
echo
don't
chamber?
lie. I feel like
Yo,
you're
can I
stuck
get
in the
some support here?
Matrix.
Yo, can I get some support here? This is like a 2-on-1.
You
Okay,
said it's
well,
like a
give me some
well,
ideas to support you with. I'm a
I just I,
Republican.
he's a Republican. I'm a progressive, and you have a Republican literally telling you that right
I'm
wing
progressive.
extremism is not
I'm
okay.
progressive.
So you're a
I'm
progressive
progressive.
fascist. So you would say that you're a progressive fascist?
I'm not a fascist.
Fascism is literally the belief
Brother,
in
I
like
don't
right
think
wing
you
I don't
know
believe in
what
any
you
of
are
that
because
shit.
you don't have a definitive idea
That's
of
just
what you are.
disgusting.
Can you define fascism?
Can you?
Can I
Let's throw it
describe
back in here.
fascism? Can I describe fascism?
Please.
Yes, I can describe fascism, dude. It's a far right authoritarian
well.
movement. I just told you, with ultranationalist political ideology based off of white extremism, white nationalism, or any type of nationalism at that. You can be
That's
a fascist and
disgusting.
be any race, but it's
I
all
just
about the.
disgusting.
I need a clear definition of your beliefs and why you think brown or black
Who
people
can't describe what
shouldn't be
a
here.
razor looks like, Jason? Wish wash?
That's disgusting, and I don't believe in
This
that.
Nick Fuentes guy or me?
Like, are you like for segregation?
No.
But you just described segregation.
How so?
By saying like there shouldn't be more people of color coming here.
Yeah, we should.
You
So
said we should
I mean,
who
round
should
them
we have
all
coming
up.
more
here?
people coming
You
from
should
here.
round them all up
We-
is a literal statement you said.
No, I
but
think we should have more people coming into
Do
the
you
country
think that
from
white
Europe than
Europeans
from
want to come here to America right now? They have social programs and live better lives than Americans do, while we
I-
live in poverty and have
Okay,
homes
definitely
everywhere.
disagree with that. But
Well, I think countries like Norway and
I'm
Sweden
just
are doing
saying.
pretty
I'm
decent.
just saying. I don't think we need as many brown people here as we have.
I don't think brown
So-
people are the ones that are affecting our country. I mean, they don't even make up the elitists
No,
that
they
are
really
running the
are.
country.
yeah, I just think in general
Man,
it's
no,
evil
but they're
versus
gonna-
good at the end of the day.
Right. Yeah, and the Jays control everything, so we gotta get them out. We gotta get them out of
What
the
up,
fucking
Monotone?
government. That's the huge thing. We gotta get the Zog out of the fucking. We gotta crush
Sure,
the
bro.
Zog.
Are you intoxicated?
That's
Can
gonna
I
be the
ask
tough
you
part.
that real quick?
You sound a little inebriated, homie.
Are you intoxicated
No.
or have a speech impediment without no disrespect?
Yo, speech impediment, but
Okay. Yes, I'm just gonna state this before anybody else talks real quick. Your beliefs are the reason why we have so many problems in this country. And
Horrible
I'm going to
take.
prove that for you right now, right? To this day, people still feel held back by issues like, for instance, slavery, right? To this day, it still affects people.
Right
And
about
I'm not
it.
saying exactly like head on straight affecting people, but they are being affected by this rhetoric. And it is because people like you still give it power with similar beliefs as what you're stating. It's ridiculous, and it's I feel like what every American wants to veer away from in general, so we can focus on real problems and not just these hateful things that people like you spit out.
Facts. Come on, man. We're all American at the end of the day, and we're all the same under, our skin, dude. Whether you're black, brown, white, blue, yellow, don't matter, man. We're all the same. Nothing.
Yeah,
White
we're gonna
Americans don't commit.
we're gonna-
You don't think white Americans commit a lot of crime?
Hold on, let him talk real quick. I want to
Well,
hear
they
what you
do
guys
for
say.
sure, but I mean, even like, so here's the thing: like, any crime committed by an illegal can be prevented. You know what I mean? You can't be like, well, white people do this more
Americans
because we
commit
have
crimes
illegals
every
here.
day.
It's like these people shouldn't be here regardless. So like, what are we fucking talking
But I
about?
think white people use
And
the
they-
excuse
and they're
that black
killing-
people
and they're
are they
killing
do this
citizens.
more. So you
They're
don't want me to
murdering
use it for
citizens.
you, but you want to use it for them. Do you see how
Certain
hypocritical
races
that
do
might be?
certain things in certain
You can't
areas of
call
the
them
United
colors no
States of
more, isn't that
America
crazy?
because they are held
what?
bound. Let's be
Who's
honest.
held down?
Their
Who's held
communities hold them back.
Oh no!
What they see on a
No, yeah,
day-to-day
'cause they got
basis
bad
growing
communities.
up makes them like things like that are okay, and they continue the trend. It's a trending idea of like what you see you turn into. And I'm not necessarily a prime example because I escaped what I saw while growing up, you know, living in a drug addicted family and whatnot. And that's the shit that I come from. I escaped because I used my head. And these people also have that opportunity as well. But 9 times out of the 10, they're not escaping that lifestyle that they're living in. With that being said, you know, they commit these crimes because they are held back in a way. Absolutely. And it's more crimes than what illegal immigrants come here and commit. Am I wrong?
What up on woke?
I don't know if you're wrong, but
Yo, what's
these
happening?
legal immigrants should be committing crimes here regardless because they shouldn't be here. Thanks.
All right, fellas,
End
what
of
are we
fucking discussion.
discussing here, guys?
Appreciate
Oh
that,
my
big dog.
lordy. Hey, Wish,
Appreciate
why
that,
why
big
don't you
dog. Good
explain
try.
to Unwoke
Yeah,
what
please
we're talking about?
please explain your position, my friend. Explain your position for the panel.
Yeah, for
What-
sure. What do you say?
He wants to know what we're arguing about at the moment. So what are we arguing about currently? What was your position?
Cold feet?
He
Okay,
doesn't
so
want to talk. Oh, he
doesn't wanna
left.
ta- oh, he left. He was basically arguing that black people are ruining the country. He said that he has one black person on in his neighborhood. He doesn't need more. That was the argument.
I mean, for the most part, they're leading the charge of destruction. A lot of them are. Come on, guys. We can't gaslight. Like we
based off
cannot
of
gaslight. Like we cannot play this gaslighting game again, guys. Like we got to say what it is, right?
in what way? Explain.
Well, we can start with the crime stats. I mean, 51% of the homicide committed by less than 6% of the population.
I will say this too. Just know that Caden is Republican and I am a progressive. So you are getting both perspectives. It's not like you're just arguing with
I was about to
progressives
say,
here.
I don't know if you just heard my argument,
That's
but we
fair.
kind of just went over this exact topic right here.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, we start from the crime stats. We can move to the AB. We can go to just cultural degeneracy. I mean, we can go to various topics if you guys like.
What race are
Yeah,
you
and
by
I
any chance?
guess-
Are you? I can't see.
I'm black as the ace of spades.
So you're black advocating for that black people are actually committing crime right now, or leading the charge.
Advocating?
Well, okay, that's a fact. I mean, all people.
I
are
don't.
committing
I'm
crimes.
trying to clarify your position and just trying to figure out what it is.
I'm just stating a descriptor of reality. I'm not.
Okay.
I haven't made an ought claim or prescribed any prescriptions or anything like that. I'm simply saying that observable reality would dictate that if you look at the stats, according to the Bureau of Justice Statistics,
Right.
blacks account for 51% of the homicides and a large percentage of the assaults, the robberies. The list goes on.
Yeah, absolutely. Black on black crime. I mean, that's one of the leading statistics right there.
I mean, not even just that. The AB. I mean, they account for the largest share of the race that terminate their own kids. Why do you think we've been stagnant at 13% for 70 years?
So, do you think they're held back because that's all they've seen all their life growing up like that?
They're held back because of lack of morality and this idea of suicidal empathy.
Statistics. The Bureau of Labor Statistics.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah, and a lot of the times, the blacks who have segregated themselves from that sort of contingent of degenerate blacks, they are. A lot of these guys kind of cosplay. They cosplay I call it imposter syndrome, where they'll emulate the struggle, quote unquote, the struggle, and advocate for all of these liberal, hyper progressive policies that literally has been the detriment to the black community.
Right. But do you think
Right.
segregation would help that?
Segregation?
Yes.
I mean, if we're talking historically, I don't think that forced segregation or forced integration should have been a thing. I think naturally those laws were going to sunset over time. If you would have look at the trajectory at that time.
That's what that kid was vouching for.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
I mean, think about it. Like, I was just watching a debate between but they were making an argument that, do you think the government should have the right to impose their will on the business. Like if this business decides to discriminate because based on race or something like that, should they have that right?
Absolutely. I mean,
I agree.
it sucks,
Right.
but First Amendment.
But in the natural consequence of that is going to be people are not going to frequent that or patronize that particular establishment, right?
Right.
Mhm.
Because we evolve as human beings. It's that simple. But if we keep gaslighting each other and say, no, I don't want to point out the ugly, unflattering realities because in fear of hurting people's sweet little frail feelings, we're just going to keep like spinning into oblivion.
And agree, but to back
Right.
your point here, I just want to state we come from like how we want these talks to go, as well as like if you feel a certain way, no matter what, we want you to come here to voice that. But to come here and just be flat out racist without real education behind it for why you feel that way, right? We love to point out statistics all day. Absolutely, that's what we come here to do: speak real facts.
Well, listen, I understand the percolation of like this more primal racism that's starting to happen now. I get it. I totally get it. Like, honestly, y'all, Black Petite is real. It's a real thing, man. People are getting sick and tired of this degeneracy permeating our society.
Right.
We're not going to normalize this crap anymore. I mean, where is the bottom? When does the bottom fall out? Like, seriously. So I see, do I agree with a lot of this incendiary rhetoric, getting on panels and calling people the N-word and all that and this, that? I don't think it makes for healthy discourse, but I totally understand the frustration. I just do. As a Black man.
Do you, as a Black man, do you feel like other Black people have the same position as you, or do you feel like you're isolated in having that position at the moment?
I'm totally ostracized. You kidding me? The black community is a monolith. Group thing.
Yeah, for
Got
the most
you.
part, it is one-sided, and like I will say, it's rare to run into somebody with his where he's coming from, you know?
Yeah, because I was going to say the way that you're speaking on it is not the way that we can just actively, I think, go out and say it, but you being here and advocating for it does allow us to be able to clip this kind of content and have these kind of conversations because you know what? Hey, I mean, as somebody who's coming from your community, who can speak on it more than somebody who comes from that community? White people can speak on it all day.
Too. Listen, I don't like that. You know what? I push back against this notion that just because you don't represent this particular identity, you can't speak on moral issues. This is a moral crisis that we're in.
We agree, but in general, if we have that belief and we state it out loud, we are affected more by it.
Okay, and you guys been cowering for years. Hence the rise of degeneracy. White men, Black men, all type of men who are against degeneracy in general, regardless of what race, should speak out on it because it is a moral imperative.
Agreed.
You want us to speak on it like Malcolm. You just want us to call that shit out.
Well, I don't agree with Malcolm because but
that rhetoric that you're speaking of right now is why we're here to do this.
And honestly, guys, I hate a controversial take. Martin Luther King, contrary to him being deified in our society, he was a Marxist. I mean, he's the one that really ushered in this kind of utopian like oppressive narrative in the Black community. We've adopted this Marxian ideology solely because of his Trojan horse.
Do you feel like Marxism is a detriment to the Black society? Like, do you feel like it throws them deeper into this poverty trap? Because we had an economist saying that quite literally, like, those social programs did lead to poverty traps.
Absolutely, man. Think about it, man. How detrimental is it to tell someone that simply by dint of your immutable characteristics that you have zero control over, you will not progress in society? That in itself is self-defeating. You have no sort of external drive or impetus to make something better out of yourself because you're always going to be ruminating and constantly thinking about this invisible barrier that you will never be able to surpass. So I think, yes, Marxian rhetoric of the oppressor versus the oppressed narrative, it has been a detriment, bro. Right. And I've done it. You guys can check out my YouTube. I did a pretty profound video on this.
Yeah, bro, I'll go give you a follow on YouTube, man.
Hey, invite Jason up to the chat.
I don't think he's in the conversation anymore.
Y'all got any last things to say to me before I take off?
No, I really appreciate your perspective, and honestly, like, this is what we needed to hear.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
man.
Just
Really
if you guys
appreciate
are
you
going to
getting
be
on.
progressive, if you guys are going to be progressive, that's fine. I mean, I'm sure we disagree with 99% of each other, but when it comes specifically to the black community, speak up, tell the truth, and stop the paternalism. Stop the paternalism because it is insulting, it is condescending, and it is infantilizing to tell blacks that, hey guys, we can give you a leg up. You guys have been oppressed. We want to facilitate your development. Let the free market reign. Let the blacks and the whites and whatever race, let them do it themselves.
Mm.
All right, accountability. It's all
Yeah,
about.
I
Guys,
hear
take
you
care.
on that,
Absolutely.
man.
Amen, brother. Thank you for
Amen.
this quote, bro.
No problem.
Yeah, bro. Appreciate you hanging out, man. Yeah, that was a good conversation right there, man. We got a lot of good
That was a
perspectives tonight, man.
great conversation. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. For real. Unfortunately, bro, I have to go do my sister-in-law's in town, so I'm gonna have to go out with her and go do stuff with my wife for a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah, absolutely, bro.
But I'm gonna be online tomorrow night again. I'm sorry about yesterday, bro. I had a lot going on yesterday, so I couldn't get online. But the
Don't
point is
apologize,
to
bro.
get
You
here
got a
every
life.
day. I'm trying to get on every day to continue these conversations and not like flop on on showing up and being able to every night is a night we can convince people. So I really appreciate you coming in too, bro, consistently and offering that Republican perspective because
Yeah, dude, I really
it's been
like you.
easier.
I like the conversations we have and everything else. I mean, it's very fun and it's interesting, you know?
Yeah, bro. I really hope that you keep coming back because honestly, man, like me going just by myself does make it a little bit harder. But when I have, like I said, that the other perspective, other people tend to like simmer down, right? They tend to be like,
Yeah.
oh, this is actually okay, cool. This isn't just me fighting against a liberal. This is a place where we're actually talking, which is like I said, bro, like something I
Absolutely.
didn't expect to get out of doing the live so quickly. I didn't expect, like I said, for somebody like you to keep getting back on here and actually offering that opinion, which has been, dude, a help in itself more than you could ever realize. For the clips that I've already been trying to get, like watching over the videos again, I'm like, it's just been very interesting. So like, I really
Right.
appreciate
Well,
it, bro.
with me being in Missouri, I don't got my camera turned on as much because, like, I got limited access to great views behind me and everything. But when I'm back home, I'm going to set it up to where, I can start showing my face more with you. And I'd like to grow with you, honestly. It's fun. And, I also just started getting into it as well. I really enjoy this and having just another perspective, kind of just throws other ideas out there at you. We're able to fact check each other and keep each other educated with these real world events and keep it with a clear mind, because at the end of the day, that's something we don't see. And that is something you and I give to these people, a clear mind. And we don't judge people based off of what they think, unless they come up here with some really radical ideas,
Right.
that's a different, yeah,
Like
that's a
the
different thing.
national white knight that made the other guy mad. He's like, I can't stay on here. But he
Yeah,
has to
no.
understand that we're trying to actually hear those positions, man, because I mean, I'm trying to pick these people's brains. I mean, these people hide behind keyboards all of the time. When we get them in a chat, I need to talk to them. I mean, like, why do you feel this way?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like a lot of people immediately just want to get rid of those like really radicalized beliefs, like immediately because of all the guidelines, of course, and whatnot. And at the end of the day, who wants to respect somebody with those beliefs? Well, it is important to try to persuade that person not to think that way. And I feel
Exactly.
like having them coming out and freely speaking about their beliefs while they're on an undercover account, you can really understand what drives them to have the beliefs that they're thinking, and we can kind of nitpick at what needs to be addressed, and it gets them thinking about it.
100%, dude. I mean, that's what I constantly tell like my wife. Like, I'm not really even trying to get to my generation, the 30-year-olds and everything. I'm trying to get towards these young people who are a little bit radicalized that are still easily mendable, right? We can still, change their way of thinking to be like, oh, you know what? Maybe you're right. Maybe that these guys have a point, because like I said, man, I think a lot of people can appreciate the kind of conversations that we're trying to have here. Obviously you do. I mean, you believe in what I'm trying to do here, obviously, so much so that you've showed up time and time again for every episode I've done since we met, right? Which is, I mean, it's awesome, because I didn't expect that. I mean, And like I said, the conversations have been incredibly interesting since the start of having, you into this whole aspect of it. So like I said, man, I do invite you and I implore you to keep getting on here every time and to, keep picking these people's brains with me, because of the fact that I don't want it to just be one-sided liberal. Because like I said, I don't have a lot of, I don't really hang out around a lot of people in the first place. So I don't have a lot of friends to be like, hey, come into this conversation. Let's have this chat, especially ones that are MAGA or conservative. So yeah, man, this is awesome. And like I said, I really do appreciate you believing what we're trying to do here. And I mean, this mission can now essentially become yours too. We were doing this together, and you're more than welcome to clip it as well and post it as well, and
Yeah, well, I mean, I truly believe the things that we see, like Parker, for instance, how he goes about doing his lives, it's all one-sided. There
Yeah.
is no and they're extremely smart people, don't get me wrong, but there is no in between, there is no mediator, there is no person just to kind of sit there and defend these people. So I feel like people like you and I having these chats, we need to get up to that scale so we can kind of have that median in a way. So therefore, we're throwing a different perspective at people so we can teach them to love one another instead of constantly coming for each other's throat. Because at the end of the day, we just want to make it America first, and we want to show each other we care about each other, but we need to stop with radical views and at the same time come to a conclusion of how to solve these certain policies we want to get by with and keep this country in a stable place.
Dude, I 100% agree. I mean, dude, come on. Like I said, we reference Parker and Dean all of the time. And what is it? It's usually they're together actually debating, right? It's always a 2v1. And, that can make things so unfair to people who are just trying to have a conversation.
They got shifts that they're hired by sponsors.
Yes. And what I feel bad about sometimes is that I'll listen to those debates sometimes just because I follow them just to hear it out. And I feel bad about some people that come in to actually try to have a conversation. I will hear people that want to talk, and it's just like trolling, right? It turns into let me just try to irritate this person versus let me educate this person, because what we're doing here is education. Like, okay, if you feel this way, why? Okay, let's get the empirical evidence in front of us and let's try to see if that's really the truth. And, these, like I said, just having a conversation with people and approaching it with empathy and not just degrading people is so important. And obviously there's a market for these debates. You see that people tune into Parker and Dean all of the time, and it's like, okay, well, if those two can blow up, then why is it, not possible for a progressive who actually has values that and respects each other, like conservatives can't grow a platform.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I feel like ever since the Charlie Kirk incident, we don't really have a very strong figure on the Republican side to kind of argue against that, So with that being said, I believe there should be a strong figure for that, but at the same time, somebody who's really strong with representing the middle ground. And that's where, once again, our beliefs come in because, without the middle ground, we have no check and balance.
Right, 100%. If we could approach it from a place of always middle ground, and at the end, hey, let's shake each other's hand and tell each other have a good day, not leaving off with people huffing and puffing and so mad, right? Then maybe people will actually have hope in what we're trying to do here. Hope in the American experiment again, hope in these conversations and in these debates, right? And not be so scared to go and approach them anymore, because like I said, after Charlie Kirk, you have a rise of people, like I said, that are going to colleges like Myron Gaines and all of that. And how does he talk? He just, yells and cusses at everybody's faces too, and spreads kind of like a rhetoric that necessarily is, it can be divisive.
Right.
And like I said, exactly. And just like I talk about those right-wing podcasters that do it, man, there's left as well. That's why you have to say it. Somebody put a hat on me. I don't know why. Oh.
They gifted you something.
They gifted me a hat. Appreciate it, Ariana. That's my sister-in-law.
That's awesome.
That is awesome. But yeah, man, like I said, these conversations, we have to approach them nightly. And that's why, even, bro, when I'm tired and I'm like, ugh, dude, I'm not feeling it. I got to get on, bro, because these conversations are so important. Even if I get a couple of followers a night, bro. Those are a couple of people that are brought into the fold that actually believe in this and that might come back on the next live. And then the conversations keep getting better and better every time.
Exactly. And dude, I'm not gonna lie, when I have free time throughout the day, I'm super excited to get on the lives to talk to other groups because like I know I'm going to find people who are extremely left or extremely right. And I'm like, you guys are awesome because you are the people I'm looking for. Let's get you on the live tonight. And that's why
Exactly.
I'm always texting you. I'm like, bro, are you getting on? I got people I'm inviting, man. I'm really excited about it. So I'm constantly spreading the news about us. I'm constantly trying to build up a platform. Well, what I need to do is start sharing your at with everybody so they can follow you as well immediately.
Yeah,
But yeah, I
man.
mean, in general, there's a lot of other people having the same conversations that we're having, and they're not necessarily all peaceful. So if we can bring that peacefulness to this platform and have these people actually come in and have these conversations with their either beliefs or the statistics and facts about whatever we're talking about, that would be the best case scenario right there, man. You and I being the mediators. Of course, we can defend either or side, and a lot of times you and I would say it's like 75% of the times you and I can agree.
Yeah, man, exactly. But I think that's also good that we don't agree in some areas because that shows people that this isn't just like two people fronting, right? Like, because they could easily be like, oh, what's an act? They're just acting, right? I mean, this other guy's a progressive too. He's just acting like he's a Republican. Like, no, dude. I mean, we have disagreements, but at the end of the day, this proves that you keep coming back and that we can have a real conversation and that you actually enjoy the conversation. And I'm sure there are other Republicans who want to talk to liberals without a liberal screaming at them.
Right. Yeah. I mean, on God, and the same for, I mean, vice versa, dude.
Yeah,
There's some
man.
real crazy people out there, but unfortunately, the drama of it all is what keeps it going because people love drama.
Yes, exactly. What I think is beautiful too, though, is that, I know that the economist guy wasn't necessarily so accepting of the other guy, but like for people like us, even if a troll comes into the chat, I'm willing to entertain them because I feel like I can still get them to actually reason eventually. Maybe not all, but some, yes.
I mean, that
So,
one guy, what's his face? I forget his tag, but he was trolling me about the business shit, dude.
Steve, yeah, Steve. Steve-O. Yeah, dude, that conversation was hilarious. And that's what I mean. Like, just getting these interesting conversations is so funny, bro.
Dude,
It's
for real.
hilarious interacting with these different types of people on the internet. It's interesting to see what the different perspectives in America.
It's great, man. And once we build these platforms, dude, and we get big enough, I would really like to take it back to like school platforms again, like Charlie Kirk did.
Oh yeah, dude. Like I said, I go to school and everything, and I see people doing it, and that was my desire with this from the beginning is eventually to build this platform to go and talk to the kids, and kind of redo that work, man, and in my own way. I mean, maybe that's optimistic of me to think about, but I talk about politics so much in my free time that I was just like, might as well put it on a platform and see where it goes. Of
Yeah.
course you're going to get trolled. Of course you're going to get hated. Of course people are going to think you're corny that in the beginning. But after a while, when you start seeing people coming in and you're actually talking to real people that you've met through the internet and they're liking what you're doing, then you actually start to think, well, okay, maybe this might be worth it. And maybe I should continue to keep going. And, like I said, you even coming back has been like a proof to me that, okay, well, if I can get one person to get on board with this experiment, then who's to say that we can't get thousands?
Exactly. And, I fight for this cause because it is the best cause on the internet. People talking about real problems. That's what we need. Whether it involves politics, I mean, of course, we like our politics, but even like social problems of just like different cities and different belief systems, we all come together and kind of form a median. And I feel like a
Exactly.
lot of people at the end of the day leave more satisfied with having somebody with a different point of view compared to everybody having the same point of view.
Yeah, exactly. How many times have we gotten somebody to say that this is different than what I've dealt with in every other debate? That just shows that we're doing something different right here, right now, that nobody else is doing on this platform. Not
Every
one.
time.
Exactly. I am not getting into one debate where there's somebody that's a host that is moderating both sides and still advocating for his position while respecting the other side. Most of it, like I said, it's to get clickbait. It's to make people mad because that's what it clicks.
Right.
But it's like, dude, I'm not trying to get clicks. This isn't about profit. Those guys, they're just trying to make money. I'm trying to actually talk to the people. That's what's important to me, is making sure that we don't get to a point of self-destruction.
Exactly. I mean, our voice is everything, man. And if we don't start doing this more, it's going to be all out just war, no matter where we're at. That's just how it's going to be. It's been proven throughout history. If people don't stop talking and keep everything, level minded like we are, we're never going to get along.
Exactly, bro. And that's why, like I said, I'm gonna be online. I'm gonna try to go on every day. Fridays through Mondays. My job. I usually get off by I'll be off 4 or 5 going forward. So I'll be able to get online probably at 5, 6 going on till 10 for the episodes, because I need to just do a set time for these episodes. That way they like consistency. They like expecting, when things start.
Right.
So,
absolutely.
Now that this is getting somewhere, I'll be able to set all those up. And we'll keep this going, man. We'll keep this going on a daily basis, even if it's for an hour, 2 hours, just having the conversations for a little bit, it helps every day. So hell yeah, man. I mean, I'll probably be on tomorrow, sometime in the afternoon. Probably again at the same time, probably 8 or 9. I got to go do a couple of things tomorrow, but I will be online tomorrow night. And hopefully a little bit longer than tonight.
No rush. I'm going to try to recruit some more people, man.
Of course, man. Of course. All right, bro. I'm going to go ahead and get off. It was cool having this debate tonight, man. You have a good one, bro.
All right, you as well, brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay. Yeah.